Alright, this is a Ruckus Bringing again. I want to do another review on this plane. I made some mods, but first of all, I've been flying this plane for a little while, and I noticed, well, I haven't noticed, but I've been having a lot of hard landing problems. Um, and what happens is, it tends to, I guess, balloon or float as it comes in, so you have to time the landing really perfect. Well, that's great if you're just used to this plane, but I fly different planes and I'm not really quite that good with this plane, so I kept having to replace the landing gear, especially the nose gear. I don't know if you can see this, it might be a little too close, but I'll back away here in a second. Um, if you look at the bottom, with the little light here, if you look at the bottom, there's a little landing gear retainer in there, and that actually came loose. I had to re-epoxy it and glue it in there, and then change my landing gear out. And there's no shock absorption at all with these. I may change that eventually, but you know, it's okay for now. I mean, it's just those hard landings is what I was really concerned with. Um, so back to that. So I did a little research on the actual real A10, and I noticed something pretty significant about the ailerons, particularly. I mean, I know the real ones actually open up like a speed brake, but that was just to slow the aircraft down, which that's not a problem. This aircraft slows down pretty good. It doesn't really have a long rollout once you land, so that wasn't a problem. The problem was, again, like I said, it was coming in and it was ballooning up without any elevator input. So a couple of things I changed, and it seemed to work a little bit better. I brought my elevators down, and it seemed to help a little bit. I noticed with flaps down too, it balloons even worse. So with my other setup, my DX6i, I had actual mix between when the flaps came down, I had the elevator actually go down. Some aircraft are different. Some, the flaps come down, they don't really react that much. Um, my P-47 over here is like that. It really, the flaps come down and it just slows down, and the only thing that I notice is it doesn't really want to turn as much at slow speeds, which is normal with flaps. But on landing, it's fine. Whether there's wind or not, it really doesn't matter. But some aircraft, like the F-16, which I don't have here now because I crashed it. If you look at one of my videos, I hit a pole, destroyed it. I haven't built it back up again. When the flaps come down on that plane, the nose tends to go down. So it just depends on the aircraft setup and the profile of the aircraft and such. This one tends to really balloon or nose up, kind of float, and that's great if it didn't really uh, cause a problem. But the problem with that is it balloons up and then it violently stalls. Typically a tip stall. It tends to tip stall to the right wing. I don't know if that's just the characteristic of you know the way the design of the wing is, or maybe the wing when the engines are moving, they're not counter-rotating engines, they actually rotate in the same direction. But it does have a high center of gravity with those engines way up there, so that's a really, really bad, violent uh, thing, and it actually caused me to crash. I have my old fuselage I can show you, but yeah, it's just crazy that you know that happens. So what I did is I got this other radio here. This is I don't know if you can see it, but this is the Wakira Devo 10. I got it for about 165 bucks. It was on sale on Amazon, and it came with a 10-channel receiver. This thing is amazing by itself, but I also got a third-party firmware from Deviation, and it basically opened this transmitter completely wide open. Um, I know you've seen my other videos, or if you haven't seen my other videos, that's cool. But no one, I don't think you guys have seen this software yet. But basically, it's somebody made it, downloaded it. They say, there's always a disclaimer, you know, use at your own risk. They don't hold responsible for anything that happens to your airplane, yada yada, all that good stuff. So, as it is now, I have the A10, I have a deviation 10 channel, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to set up a spoileron configuration. I did some research, like I said earlier, of the A10, and I saw some pretty interesting photos of the plane flying around, and there is at times, particular when they're doing maneuvers, both ailerons would be reflexed upwards, and I actually gave myself two positions. Okay, I did test flight this. It was windy. I'm going to test fly it again with no wind. Unfortunately, the camera video I forgot to turn on takeoff. I got some video of it, but I didn't get the landing because I had the camera back. It was cold and my hat shifted that I usually wear. And anyways, I'm gonna have to get another video of the landing because it landed really well. The actual position I landed in was the first position, which on here I believe is 50% up. I believe it's that way. I'll have to check again my mixes. It might not be 50%, but I can't remember if it's 50%. I don't know, actually it's not 50%. I think it might be 20, and then I think I go to 30 or maybe 40, I can't remember. We'll have to look at that later. But they're still ailerons. They work as ailerons even in any position. Okay? All the way up or whatnot. And also I have, obviously the dual rates on my ailerons here. Here, I'll show you the switch again. I don't know if you see it, but see, I move. This is my flight mode switch. Down is obviously normal mode, and then mid. That's the mid position. It's 3-position switch, and that's the upper position. So that's quickly you just flip it back and forth, and that'll stay there no matter what happens as long as you have it switches up, kick it back down, and you're good. It's pretty good. I mean, in the wind, it seemed to actually smooth out in both positions, which kind of makes sense, I guess, because you're spoiling the lift. And if you have wind is going to give you more lift, and it's going to tend to kind of float the plane up. So you put on your spoilerons, it spoils that lift and brings the nose back down, which is fine. That's actually what I wanted. Well, of course, you know me, you guys. I'm not satisfied with just one mix or whatever, so I want to do something a little more radical. I've seen it on gliders before, and you guys can Google this. Most gliders, if they have flaps, a lot of guys mix crow brakes in there. Now, crow brakes, I have this. Remember, this is a 10 channel. I'm only utilizing, I think, 8. I think I'm utilizing 8 channels, or maybe 9. I can't remember. I have to look at it again. But I'm utilizing this switch over here. Actually, I think it's only 8 channels, or maybe even 7. Anyways, but I'm utilizing the aux4 rotary dial here. And what it is once I go past halfway, as you'll see, my flaps and my elevators come up as like a crow brake. Okay. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why the hell would you want that? Crow braking is for, like, basically you're increasing your lift with your elevator, or I mean, excuse me, with your flaps, but you're also putting in your spoilerons, and that acts as kind of like a speed brake. So it slows you down immensely. Now, I wanted to add a safety feature to this. Okay. And what I did was, say I'm flying along, and I forget that dial, because I can't actually see what's happening in the plane other than what it's reacting to. And what I want to do is I want to have a fail-safe, a panic mode, and if I'm throttling up, and now I have throttle cut off on, so we'll talk about that later. So right now this is not, the engine's not active. I'm actually going to go past halfway and they go back to normal, as you see. Now if I have the spoilerons up, they will stay there, but it will kick down lower to a lower position, and the flaps will actually kick normal. So obviously if I slow down again, they'll pop up, and that crow brake, or the flaps will go down, and vice versa. You know, when I go up, that goes down. But like I said, I can bring this down, and they pop up. See, it's a preset position that you can change later. So obviously, if I'm flying along above 50%, it's like that. And if I want to calm it back down, this is more like a switch. Just got to push it back past 50%. 0 to 50% is inactive. So that's fine. I thought that was really interesting. That's really cool. It also does it with my flaps. If I have my flaps down all the way there, full position, if I throttle up, they go up also. Now, I can change that, but I kind of like it because flaps, you know, if they're down, you're coming in at below half throttle here, you know, you're coming in nice, and you want to buzz out of there, you just throttle forward and they go up, and then you can remember to hit them back up over here. But the reflex doesn't really affect it too much. I mean, you know, we think, okay, you're spoiling lift, you're slowing down, but it really doesn't affect this plane that much because it has pretty good wing area, and it really, this plane actually floats really well, a little bit too well, as we said earlier. So there's that feature. I may end up putting a little bit of elevator again, like I did last time, a mix with my flaps. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do that, but that's pretty much all as far as the. Well, I have another safety feature, but I did talk about the throttle cutoff too. I just put my throttle cutoff in aux 5. The reason why I did that is because it's over here. I actually have to turn it up past 50%, and then as you see, if I throttle up, the engine comes on, and it's less likely that I'm going to actually hit this. I'd have to rotate it each time with my finger, and my fingers are busy on the right side more than the left side. So if, you know, where I hit this by accident, yes, I would have no throttle and I'd have to readjust it, but it's basically, you know, I don't want to say foolproof, but it's better than having it activated to a switch where I could accidentally, whoops, I thought that was landing gear or whatnot, because you're not looking at your radio when you're flying this thing. This thing's hauling ass around. You're not going to be like, oh, what did I do, you know? So, there's that. And then I also implemented a fail-safe for my landing gear. Normally this is your gear switch right here, and I actually made it an arm switch. On my other transmitter, my DX6i, which I used to use that to fly this, my landing gear is actually over here on the left. I'm not going to push it now because the gear will come up. Well, actually it won't come up right now. With this switch down, I pull that gear up, nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's done. Now, if I push this up and then hit the gear will come up. But I actually have it set to where it won't matter what position this switches, the gear will always come down. And if you want, I'll show you that real quick. Let me just turn it around here. Actually, I'll put it on its nose. And you can see what I'm talking about. And the reason why I did that is because what happens if I need the gear down in an emergency? Do I really want to be thinking about a you know, another switch here? So I don't know if you can see that, but I'm gonna hold it away here. See, this is armed or unarmed, excuse me, and the gear will not come up. See, so that's if you're working on the plane on the ground. You don't want your gear to come up and then gear binds and it mashes it up. So when I'm going to fly, I will hit this up, and I will rotate this guy on the left or on the right here. I'll rotate this up. So basically, that's my engine, that's my gear. I don't touch them during flight. So if, for instance, I were to hit this guy, I could still have gear down. I'll show you that here in a second. But I want to turn my throttle down because I don't want any incidences. I don't want it flying around. So here we go. Gear is now armed, and I want to come up. So the gear comes up. Okay. Now, I don't have to mess with the switch at all. Gear goes up, gear goes down like normal. So you're flying around, your hand's over here, it's on the throttle, you're just here with the gear. this is your dual rate switch for your elevator, so that works too. And this is your dual rate for your ailerons, tones down your ailerons, so that's no big deal. So really your outer switches are really the only bit you're messing with, you know, too much. But if for chance this is a taller switch, and normally it is gear, because it's taller and you're thinking, okay, where's my gear? Fiddle and faddle with it. If I accidentally hit this like this, and my gear doesn't come down, I'm like, or excuse me, my gear, I did that backwards, I'm sorry guys. But anyways, let me bring the gear back up. Okay, now you're fiddle faddling around, and you hit this gear down, right? And your gear's not coming down. You're like, what the heck's going on here? And now I don't even remember what the heck the gear is supposed to do. So I was like, oh, you idiot, I can hit this gear switch down. So no matter what position this is in, you know, that position it comes down, in this position it comes down. I did that because, like I said, if I'm fiddle faddle and hitting switches, and I hit this gear, the actual gear switch down, it will come down. But it won't come back up as long as this arm switch is in the down position. So that helps to adjust that, you know. So anyway, now that's the easy part, showing you everything, all the features. The hard part is the actual mixing. It will get confusing. I'm going to go a little slow here. Okay, I'm going to actually leave the aircraft in this position so you can see the gear side of it too. Actually, no, I'll bring it down. I'll bring it down. Because, you know, I can always pick it back up for the gears for you guys. Okay. Alright. So now, we're going to put this here like this. Okay. And basically this menu is set up for this plane. Okay. You got your voltage, and you can adjust all these. I haven't really messed with that too much. Remember, our throttle is over here. So we can mess with this, and if you can see the 100%, well, that's actually not moving. That's I think that's for something else. I don't know what that's for. It says R. I don't know what R is. I have to research that too, because you could change that too, the percentage. So actually, it might be the throttle. It might be the throttle. Yes, it is. Okay, that's kind of neat. I didn't know that.